All right, left to right, we got Mason Guerra, Gavin Turley, and Aiden May. Joe, you want the first question? Sure. There we go.
How y'all doing? Good. Actually, maybe all you guys can weigh in on this, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but just how would you evaluate the expectations of this season and the ceiling of this team? Maybe just start with Mason and go across the way.
Yeah. With this team, I feel like, it's something like, it's really special this year. We have a great bond with everyone in the clubhouse. We expect nothing but, bring a national championship home this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say looking around, like when we're at practice, it's a little bit different this year because you kind of look around the huddle and it's, holy crap, this guy can rake, this guy can play, this guy has this. Like every single guy you're looking around does something exceptional. So when you have that kind of environment around a team, it brings everyone up. So expectations are high. The practice, like when we're practicing, it's a very competitive. It's a really good environment to be in.
Yeah, I think even more than that, it's our mentality too. I mean, every guy, in the locker room, in the dugout, or whatever we're doing, is always preaching, just getting better and living and breathing baseball and just doing everything we can to get to that next step. And it just feels like it's going to be a fun year, an accomplishing year, and just everything's going to click, and it's really special to be a part of.
Kind of another question for all of y'all. Just in light of this being the last Pac-12 season, in light of where Oregon State, its future lies, do you guys kind of take any extra motivation from that, or how do you kind of approach that this is the last hurrah?
I mean, to be honest, we don't really think about it or talk about it much as a team. We're kind of just really focused on the present, focused on what we can control right now. And kind of in a way, like we do take a little bit of like we got left out, I feel like almost. So I mean, there is a little chip on our shoulder, I would say.
Yeah, same goes. Not really talked about, not really worried about. Baseball's always going to be good here. I feel like it's historic. The culture is what makes it so good. But yeah, like May said, there's a chip on our shoulder to go do something. It'll mean a little bit more. Last year in the Pac-12, so yeah.
I'm a big believer in you can't have too much motivation, so whatever we can use for motivation will help us. But, as they kind of touched on, it's not something that we're ever really talking too much about. It's just something that's in the back of our head, and, maybe if it gives us a little extra push, then perfect. But besides that, it doesn't really have any effect on our day-to-day or what we're doing.
Aiden, for you, I know you just touched on it, not really something that's talked about right now, but obviously coming over from Arizona at a time of a lot of uncertainty. Are those things and conversations that you have to have during that, transfer process, and sort of adding to that, just sort of what led you to ultimately deciding that this was the place you wanted to be?
Of course you have those conversations and everything, and, Oregon State has just been such a staple in the college baseball world for so long. And you hear about the culture, you hear about, the things that go on here, and, it's one thing to hear about that, but to be a part of it and to really experience it firsthand is something special. And so, having those conversations with some of the guys on the team, and then with one of my good friends, Jacob Kamatz, who I've known forever, was really good to kind of lead into that process, and then talking to the coaches and going throughout that just helped me realize, like, this is the place I want to be, this is the place that's going to give me what I want from baseball, and, let's just go out and win some games. And, it's really cool to be a part of something that's this special and this significant as a baseball program.
Gavin, at what point last year did it click for you, and what was it that clicked for you that allowed you to finish so strong?
Yeah, I'd say last year obviously had its ups and downs, but really kind of the self-evaluation part of it is like, where am I missing, what am I missing, where do I need to be better at, and taking the focus back to just keeping it simple. So it kind of clicked then when I kind of went back to playing baseball and having fun, and I was able to pull it all back together.
For Mason and Gavin, just wanted to talk to you guys about your summer on the Cape. What was that experience like, with it being a storied summer ball league as it is?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great to go out there and compete. Met a lot of new guys. Competition, like I said, it was great. I mean,
yeah, no, going out to the Cape, especially as a freshman, you get out there. Always heard about it. but never really realize the competition level until you throw a wood bat in your hands. There's no batter's eyes, and the pitchers are throwing 95, almost every pitcher, and they only have 1 inning usually each, so you might be facing 3-4 different guys per game. So you really got to give your best every single AB, and when you have to do that every single AB, you really become a better baseball player.
What was that transition like from going from swinging metal to wood?
You know, it's fairly easy. As soon as the season ends, you know, all of the work we do is with wood bats mostly. So, you know, we get used to it pretty quick, I would say.
Yeah.
For sure. And Mason, you played a lot of third up on the Cape. I think the projection is you'll play first this year. What's the transition like moving over to the other side?
I've played first base quite a bit in the past. My entire freshman year of high school, I played first base. You know, both corners I'm pretty comfortable at. So, I mean, I've just good amount of experience over there.
For sure. For Aiden, the fastball probably didn't play as well as you would have wanted it to last year. The slider's the moneymaker, and you've got a good changeup as well. But you've been working on the fastball. What are you changing about that?
So, you know, I throw 2 different fastballs, and I've played around a lot with it. I throw a 4-seam, which, you know, it kind of cuts a little bit, so it's a little bit of a cutter. And then I've started throwing a different sinker than I used to, which I think plays a lot better. I can use it a little bit more effectively. Velocity stays basically the same with that in the 4-seam, which is good. And I think a big part of that, too, is just the way that hitters were attacking me last year. I mean, they were just pouncing on the fastball, which made some of my other pitches play up a little bit, but made the fastball just, you know, not as strong. And pitching in Arizona obviously has its downsides as well. And so I'm hoping, you know, the switch up here in Corvallis with the air and all the stuff that Coach Dorman and I have been working on with changing the way that I use the fastball will definitely help it play up and be a better solid pitch in my arsenal.
For Mason and Gav, I look at this lineup and its depth, and it's insane to me. You know, who might be batting in the 9-hole could potentially be a middle-of-the-order guy on other teams. I just wonder, how would you describe the depth of the lineup, and what do you like most about the offense?
Yeah, it's actually pretty insane. I don't feel like there's one guy in the lineup that, you know, you think is going to get out ever. I feel like we're 11 guys deep. There's going to be guys on the bench that are even going to have a ton of homers, rake. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, looking around at the team, every single guy does something exceptional. But really, if I could put it into one word, it'd just be dangerous. Pretty much every guy that gets up to that plate this year is going to be able to hit the ball out of the park. And when you have a whole lineup of guys that can do that, it's not a fun time for the opposing pitching staff.
This one's kind of for all you guys, for the hitters. Take me back to the fall, or take me back to whatever you guys have been able to do so far now. Who's the pitcher that you've least wanted to face, or who maybe has impressed you the most? And then Aiden, for you, who's the reverse? Who's a hitter that maybe you don't want to see up there?
I'd say either Aiden or Bridger Holmes. They both have just wicked stuff. Bridger gives you a different look from down below. You know, sinking heat, fastball, really good sweeper. Both of them have. So I mean, that'd be good for me.
Yeah, I'd say Aiden for sure. Or Kyle Scott. Kyle Scott has so many different pitches that he can throw with a really good intent. So those two are not fun ABs.
You know, that's a really tough question to answer just because our lineup is so powerful and kind of like they touched on, so deep. I mean, I feel like every guy's kind of a tough at-bat, which, you know, helps us pitchers get a lot better, and we can work on a bunch of stuff when you're facing 9 of the best hitters in the country every single time. You know, you're playing a scrimmage. But if I had to say, you know, somebody that's kind of got my number a little bit is Mason. I feel like he's a tough at-bat. He lays off a lot of pitches and has a great eye. Unfortunately, I haven't really got to face Gavin too much. One at bat?
One at bat, yeah.
What'd you do?
I think I K'd.
I think I got it.
Classic.
But, you know, this team is just special, and it's awesome for us pitchers to get to do that. You know, sometimes it sucks in the moment when you're like, damn, why didn't he bite on that? But it's great because you get to work on stuff. You get to pick their brains and kind of see what they're seeing and just, you know, get better as a pitcher.
Mason, Gavin, this one's for you too. Obviously, last season there was a lot of highs for you guys: home runs, stolen bases, walks, all that. A lot of things offensively. Looking back though from last season and learning from last season, where do you guys think is the biggest improvement for you guys offensively? Where do you guys think you can get better?
I'd just say, like, 1 through 9, you know, like I feel like everyone in the order is going to hit like well above 300. Everyone's going to have around 10 home runs. Like we're going to do a lot of damage this year. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. Yeah.
I'd say one of the biggest areas for improvement that we'll have this year is just overall pitch selection. Everyone's going to be a year older, year more mature. So when things don't go our way, we're not going to get as flustered, and we're going to be able to keep with our plan. So that area is going to be huge for not only our run production, but our overall success.
Do you guys expect more home runs this season than what you had last year, which was what I think a record-setting year for you guys?
Yeah.
Do you have a projection?
The projection?
I don't know. How many did we have last year? I don't know.
It was like 89?
89, 100. At least.
More, yeah. I think more. I don't know a number, but more.
Aiden, this one's for you. Obviously, you're first-time transfer from Arizona. I'm just curious, how's the adjustment period been for you, kind of transferring from Arizona to here? Just the culture, the campus, the teammates, and heck, even the weather. I mean, hell, we just had an ice storm and a snowstorm across Oregon. How has it been like for you, kind of just adjusting to everything that Oregon has to offer?
I grew up in New Mexico in the mountains outside of Albuquerque, so I've lived in mountains my whole life, and so that sort of aspect has been pretty cool because I love the mountains, I love nature. And just getting to experience it up here, I've been to a couple of the waterfalls and everything going around, and then just transferring in and experiencing the culture and the guys. I mean, they treated me like I was, I've been here forever since day one, and so, I'm very thankful for that. The coaching staff has been great about, including me from day one and everything, and the transition has honestly been very, very smooth, and, I've no complaints, and I love it up here. It's just awesome.
Gavin, this one's for you. I saw a video posted on the Baseball Social a couple weeks back of, I think it was your Evo shield you were putting on, and the straps read O State Ballas. And that video was released 16 years ago. I'm just curious if you're at all trying to bring back the O State Balla mentality.
Yeah, I mean, it was, yes, that's on our cut. That's on everyone's Evo shields. That's what's on it. I mean, yeah, kind of going back to that, it's definitely a cool little thing that we have on our team, but not necessarily trying to bring back the culture of O State Ballas, if that's what you're trying to get at. But yeah, definitely a cool little lingo we have there.
Okay, love it. And Aiden, you had your season high strikeouts here last year when you faced Oregon State. Does the bump feel just as cozy when you're out there now?
Oh yeah, I mean, even last year I was up there, and obviously I didn't know that I would be at Oregon State, but just that mound, just something about it felt different. The crowd, experiencing Goss was really cool. It was just a special place, and obviously, that's when they were cheering against me. So I hope it'll be even more special when they're cheering for me. So it's going to be really cool.
Mason is the sort of veteran of this group out here. Just how do you deal with the expectations around this group? Obviously, there's people on the outside that agree with the sentiment of this offense. I mean, you guys are in the top 10 ranking in the preseason. Just how do you deal with sort of that added expectation this time around?
Yeah, I think with all the expectations and everything, I feel like we handle it very well. It's just like this is a winning culture, and it's what we're supposed to do. So I feel like coming here, you already know that you're going to be getting everyone's best every time you step out on the field. So yeah, as a veteran guy in the clubhouse, I'd say like we just keep everyone loose. Everyone's like a band of brothers. So I mean, it's just a lot. Everyone just enjoys showing up to the field every day. It's not like there's any pressure to be there.
Hey, obviously some of the unsung heroes of the staff is the DAM analytics squad, and do you guys want to go in depth a little bit about like their influence in the development of the team?
Yeah. After the fall, we get a hitting report about all the at-bats that we've had. We get heat maps, pitches that we're hitting well, pitches that we aren't hitting well. So like we get a full like breakdown of everything that we need to work on and improve going into the season. I think they do a great job at what they do.
Yeah, it's awesome to have a whole entire team dedicated to us hitters and pitchers. Using that information to our advantage is something that is kind of newer in the game, and I feel like we're all kind of learning. But being able to go in and see where a pitch was, how hard it was hit, where it was hit, and where I'm doing good and where I'm doing bad at is something that's huge for all of us.
And on the pitching staff, I mean, we get everything measured. I mean, we have TrackMan, we have Edutronic, we have, video being set up for every bullpen and every outing that we throw. And just having access to that much information is, it's never a bad thing. And they do a good job of helping us utilize it properly. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for analytics, and if they're used in the right ways, and I think that the stuff that they do is helping us be a better team and helping us achieve the things that we want to achieve.
Aiden, I know you came here to be that Friday guy. I wonder, when you step on campus and you think about the history of guys, most recently Cooper, Jerpy, who's manned that, is there a different mentality or a different responsibility that you feel if you're in that position and just chasing that position, and how do you kind of approach that?
Maybe a little bit. I haven't really thought about that too much. I mean, my end goal at the end of the day is just to win, and however I can help the team do that, then that's, above all else. But I feel like, I feel like my stuff stacks up against anybody else in the country, and that's the mentality that I'm going to use, every time I'm out there on the mound. And I'm just going to try to compete the best I can and hopefully live up to the standard that's been set by the guys before me. And so I'm going to do everything I can to live up to that.
When you do look at the staff, I know Jacob and Jaron finally threw a couple weeks ago, and it seems to be, everybody's healthy and rounding into form. I guess, how would you assess the staff and how, the starting rotation, while it's not set, how it stacks up and how things are kind of shaping up there?
That's what's great about this staff, and obviously the depth of the hitters has been touched on, but we have just as much depth on the mound too. I mean, any guy could fill any position on our team, and that's what's great about it. I mean, every guy is able to do so many different things and come in different situations. And so if we need a guy to start, if we need a guy to relieve, or whatever else comes up, then it's just great. I mean, a lot of the guys are super competitive, and we're working and doing everything we can every day to get better as pitchers. And I think that's only going to help when the season comes, because obviously things pop up, and if somebody gets injured or something else obviously happens that you don't want it to, there's so many guys that can step up and fill different roles, which is just perfect for this staff.
Question for all three of you off the analytics question. Is there something that, like one number or one chart they've shown you that I would say the general public doesn't know much about, that you think really makes a difference and is really important of how you guys feel like you evaluate your game?
I would say the heat maps that we get. So like I said, at the end of the fall, we get like a little heat map about like what pitches we hit good in the zone, where we hit them, how hard we're hitting them, and like pitch selection is something they give us too, like chase rate. So I think things like that are like very go into like creating an approach.
Mm-hmm. So the heat maps are like different by whatever you're trying to measure, right?
They're like how well you hit a ball in that part of the zone.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Like by average or slug or yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing that May said. Is seeing that heat map is like, okay, well, I'm that kind of hitter, so I can look for these pitches. So forming an approach off of those is a really valuable thing to have.
What about for you, Aiden?
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the heat maps are great too for pitchers. I mean, you see where your stuff plays in the zone, and how you can best utilize what makes you a good pitcher. But overall, I think there's different approaches for different pitchers. So some guys might have to look at whiff percentage because they need to strike more guys out, or some guys need to look at what's my most effective pitch so I can get ground balls or fly balls or whatever's going to make you most effective as a pitcher. And I think that they do a good job of separating that for different guys and kind of identifying what makes you a good pitcher and building those characteristics up a little bit.
How much does spin go into how you evaluate how good your stuff is?
Spin is a great metric. I think it doesn't tell the whole story, so I think you need a lot of other stuff to tie in with it. But generally high spin rates means good stuff. And so you're always trying to chase spin rate and develop your pitches around that. So it helps evaluate, but I feel like I'm a big advocate for as much information as possible. And so taking things with spin rate is the best in my opinion.
Okay, last question.
Well, we'll end on a fun one. It'll be a little different for Aiden, but have you guys picked out your walk-up songs and warm-up songs yet?
Yes. Mine's the same as last year, Married to the Game by Future.
Mine's the same as last year, Blue Boys Tune by B.B. King.
Yours changed at one point, didn't it?
For a second. I think I changed it to some Can't See Me by Tupac. Yeah. Yeah, I think Darren was just like, change your walk-up song. Some something influenced by Darn, if I remember correctly. But yeah, back to the original.
And then I'm gonna do "Never Go Home Again" by Cody Johnson. I don't know. I like the twang of it. I guess it's gonna be a good one.
All right, thanks guys. Thanks everyone. Awesome.